chip off the old block. Looking at you got me thinking about my old pops. How I'ma navigate and get you through the roadblock.
All these images, right? And I started seeing it at times. I think it was about when she was about 2.5. And she loves like Ariel from The Little Mermaid. Yeah. And then it was like all of a sudden it was like, well, I wish I had long hair like her. I wish I had red hair like her. Or I wish I had like this blonde hair, right? And then for me, those are the seeds of doubt, right? So then I just like remind her like that you can have, we can put your hair down, but guess what? Ariel can't have her hair stand up, right? Her hair can't defy gravity. Only your beautiful, strong hair can, right? Like, you are beautiful the way that you are, right? Like, and God made you perfect.
You know, when I was a kid, we used to use this term called the OG. Now, for those of you that don't know, the OG is an African-American colloquialism, and it pretty much means a person that you know for sure has been around and is very wise. I want you guys to meet Malik, right? Malik is a motivational speaker. He's been on NBC. He's been on Fox. Very, very inspiring guy here. I mean, talking to Malik is just like, it's like when he talks, you just have to listen to what he's saying. And he's a parole officer, so you know he's like tough guy. Some of the things that we're gonna talk about in this episode: words of affirmation, gender reveals, and just putting us on game on just a lot of stuff. I really want you guys to listen to this one. Hope you guys enjoy.
Wifey was talking about maybe doing like one of them gender reveal parties or something like that, right? Yeah. So I was talking with one of my friends and we were saying maybe I might do the whole get the basketball, dunk it. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. So
I see a lot of those crazy ones like that. I seen one, they get real creative with it. This guy, he's like a weightlifter. Mm-hmm. He's like a bodybuilder, and he throws the weights down and like the powder busts all over the place, and it's like,
right.
And then it gets everybody super excited. I seen one that was like, he was like into cars. So as soon as he hit the exhaust, right, the exhaust was pink or blue. Yeah, depending on this kid. They get super creative. So you got a lot ahead of you. Like I know you can't do no ordinary stuff.
I mean,
if you dunk it, yeah, it can't be no regular dunk.
I know, no, it might have to at this point. You know, back in the day, you know. But I think I'll have wifey throw the alley oop to me.
What? You only got one chance for that.
I know. So it's like, hey, I need a good toss, baby.
Actually, what'll be awesome is if you got hung on the rim.
Oh. But
the powder still bust.
Oh. Yeah.
And if the powder still bust, like we still know what it is.
We out here, we good.
And you can't even do it over because like that's gonna get shared. Like a lot of people gonna be interested in that one.
That'll be definitely for the likes. definitely for the likes. Yeah.
We did a gender reveal. Well, it was like a fake gender reveal because we did we were in an ultrasound room and I just like snuck my camera in because I pretty much sneak my camera pretty much in everywhere because you know they don't let you take pictures.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I had my whole camera, like not my iPhone. I had my whole camera in there, and the ultrasound lady was like, "You can't have that in there." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Let me just sit it right here." Had to just put it on record and set it right there. And as soon as she said that the baby was a boy, I was like, "Oh, I didn't forget the camera was on." I was like ecstatic that whole time, you know, jumping around. I was like, "Oh snap!" She didn't even pay no attention to it. I'm like, "What are you gonna do? You gonna take my camera? I already got the footage." Right.
I know. I hear you. Now, are you only having one kid? Or
well, we have one kid now, and that's it.
Ooh, but you playing for more?
I mean, I'm okay with more. I'm okay with a whole basketball team.
Okay, well, I'm just letting you know. You might have a different, reaction when they say that girl coming though, because it's like I'm like, yeah, I'm about to have the boy in the oven, right? We coming, right? I got Junior on the way, right? And then it was like, hey, you about to, you having a girl? I was like, is there a second test? Can I get a second opinion?
So wait, how did you find out about the girl? How did they was it a gender reveal the first time?
No. So it was just regular like ultrasound.
Oh, okay. So in the room, y'all was in the room.
Yeah, so we were in the room and then I found out and I was like, are you sure? Like we something might change or no? And I wasn't prepared because in my mind I'm like, God gonna bless me with a boy. He know I ain't capable of raising no girls right now, bro. Like I'm good. And it was like he had other plans.
See, I always say like I feel like my contribution to society will be much greater if I have like a son. You know what I mean? Because I know how to treat like a son. I know how to treat like a boy. Like right. I know the things that worked for me. Yeah. I know the things that didn't work for me. And I have like my mom and my grandmother, and I got like some distant girl cousins. But that's all I have. Like I don't have no sisters, No like close female friends that I grew up with that like no sharing bathroom. Like I don't have none of that experience. None of those emotions and stuff.
Oh man, look, man, listen. You know how outnumbered I am right now? It's 3-1, bro.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Because your wife is a woman.
You feel me? You feel me? So it's like, you know, emotions all up in the air. And the only good thing about it though is I'd be like, hey, look, you know, I need to go play some basketball. I got to be with the fellas for a little bit. So I get a little alone time. I'm like, you know, the whole hair thing. I'm like, I'm just kind of getting on the wave. So I'm like, you know, you got to, you know, get this right.
Oh, you got to step it up. There's a lot of dudes out here that's doing the hair thing real good.
Nah, you're right. But see, last week, wifey went to Mexico.
Okay.
So left your boy for like 5 days. So since having kids, that was the first real time. Because every other time I've been able to like call Mom Dukes up or something like that. But I was like, nah, I got this, you know. And then it was like after day 2, it was like, yo, you know, somebody got to do the hair. And I was, you know, your boy was in there with the comb, with the grease, like trying to make it happen. And she talking about, I want 2 ponytails. And I'm like, I got skills for 1. You feel me? So, you know, I had to, so your boy, I'm on YouTube. You know, I'm out here calling the babysitter, my cousin and them, you know. Yeah. So, but we got it done. It's just, you know, I'm like, yeah, the skills got to go up.
You know, it's real popular to have girls now and to be able to do all of that kind of hair stuff and be able to cross over. Because it's almost like it shows like a different side of a person. Because like you're a parole officer. In my mind, you like tough, you beat everybody up, you don't laugh. Like you don't take no lunch breaks. Like that's how it is in my mind.
If crime doesn't sleep, so I can't sleep.
So like in my mind, like super tough, and then you go home to like three women, 3 girls.
Well, I think, you know, it's for me sometimes it's the epitome of life, right? Like it's the yin and the yang. It's what keeps me balanced. It's what keeps me sometimes even focused and sharp on my life. You know, some of my job is that you have to use a lot of like your deductive reasoning, your tactical skills, and you know you can get lazy out there, right? But when you have people that are very important to you that you gotta come home to, you know, that's one thing that keeps you sharp, you know, because of the demographic that you're dealing with. At the same time, if you like that all day, right? Sometimes, you know, on guard, you know, trying to decipher whether people are telling you the truth or, you know, all these things. When I come home and I get through the door, right, like anything I could have been through, right, that day, you know, goes out the window, right? Because I got 2 little girls that run up and grab me by the kneecaps, right? And I think I'm like this superhero that like, you know, just want me around, they want their best friend, right? They want the guy who's gonna play with them, throw them around, like wrestle with them and stuff like that. You know, I even have to like calm down a little bit because, you know, I'm a little bit into MMA and all that. So be having my daughters, I'm like, all right, this is how you know, get somebody into a guillotine, you know, and I be over there like sleep. So my wife's like, your daughter's at daycare trying to put a kid to sleep, and I'm like, baby, you can't do that. But how you tell it to a 2-year-old?
Hey, those are good skills to develop early.
Oh yeah, early, because I'm like, look, some little boy gonna lose his mind.
So are you pro gun? Are you like pro gun?
Oh yeah. I'm pro gun. I'm definitely pro gun for people in their homes and for protection and stuff like that. I think if I'm gonna go down like that lane, for me at least, it's the idea of general society lives in a bubble, right? Where certain things, where they believe that, well, in their life, right, they can choose to look at the news or things that are going on in society, and they can choose to see the good or the bad, right? They can avoid things, they can kind of program things to just see what they want. For me, sometimes what happens is that I can see a lot of the stuff that people don't want to see, like those police reports and those victims and stuff like that come through my office and come on my desk. So the fact of having a home invasion, the fact of you know, being followed while you're out in, you know, while you're out there in society, right? Like those things and being attacked and stuff like that, they happen. They happen at decent numbers. So for me, I take protecting my family very seriously, and I kind of shade on the side of I'd rather have it and not need it, right, than need it and not have it. And the other thing is that I stay sharp with my skills. So it's not like we're out here playing games and I'm not good at what I do. You know, we do tactical shooting. I'm 58, 59 out of 60. So like I'm on point. So I say to tell people all the time, I got a good friend, Will Jones. He does He's a black guy who owns his own firearms training company, and he does it out in Manchester, and he does a great job with just instructing people and then getting them to understand that like it's not about this little 8-hour course or whatever. It's about like what you do afterwards, because it's something dangerous to have. You gotta make sure that you know what you're doing with it, but it's important to be able to protect your family.
Yeah. So what about? So do you plan on like teaching your girls how to like shoot and teaching them about firearms and fire safety and all that?
Well, the first thing is that my daughters, I think, is to get them into like jujitsu, right? Because the first thing I want to teach them is to avoid conflict, right? So if anything I'm gonna do is like how to avoid it. So I want you to. So we're gonna first start with like your de-escalation techniques and how to like be aware and like where to be, not to be, how to position yourself, how to get out of a bad situation. I think the next part is that if me and you had a problem and I didn't want to fight you, I thought you were bigger than me or you had more skills, I would run. So I would like, avoid conflict.
Even if you have daughters, you want them to try to avoid the conflict first? You don't think that they should just like kind of go into straight aggression mode?
Nah. Right? Like the art of war, the best battle that's ever fought is the one that you never have to, right? So avoid conflict, if you can. And the idea is that I don't want to fight you, so I can run. But the minute that, like, let's say I can't, right? The first thing you're going to do is grab me. So then that's why jiu-jitsu is so important. So that they know how to grapple, they know how to fight, they know how to, like, defend themselves enough. Not saying that if she has to fight a grown man that she can beat him, but she can afford herself 30 seconds, a minute, extra time to scream, to yell for help, to use a phone, to maybe get a weapon. And then there's the next part of having a weapon, right? And then being able to be, proficient with it.
When does actual like gun training come in? And the only reason I'm asking this is because when I was talking to Rachel's my wife. Mm-hmm. She's not super into guns, and she doesn't really want to have guns like around ties and anything. And I'm just like, well, if we just teach them early, like teach them like this isn't like a game, this is a gun. Introduce it to them. Like this is not something you play with. You don't touch it, but this is what it is. Like just starting out with just education on them.
Right.
Like is that in your plan? Like do you plan on just like adding in education first?
Well, I carry a 40 caliber gun to work every day, right? So my daughters see me with it on, right? So identifying like what it is. When they get a little older, and especially like I'm kind of waiting when they get asked a little bit more questions, I feel like, because they're still kind of young, just giving them like basic knowledge and understanding and like all those things. Because I think, right, the idea is that we can play this game as if they're not going to know or find out. But the thing is that they are, but who's going to teach them? Right? Is it going to be me or somebody else? And what and how they're going to teach them, right, about it? So if you happen to be out in the street and you see something, right, like, or there is a weapon, or you're at right, because they just passed a law recently about like, guns being like available at a friend's house. So now you're at a friend's house and your friends don't know nothing about guns. There's 2 or 3 of you over there, right? The dad left the gun out and now they're playing with it. But you understand how, like, you shouldn't laser somebody. You should be looking down a barrel. You shouldn't put your finger on the trigger. You shouldn't do this. You even know, like, you're a little older, you know how to disarm a gun, right? Or anything like that, right? Or simply just not to touch it, right? But the curiosity that happens, and you know how it is when you're a kid, the curiosity, and you don't know, and someone hasn't taught you or told you, right? Do we leave it to chance, right? Or do we teach them ourselves? And I say we teach them ourselves.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, if nothing, like just start with the education. I mean, not now. He's 1 year old, 2 years old. Doesn't really matter right now.
I get it. Yeah.
But yeah, just the introduction of this is what this is. If you see this, because I tell Rachel a lot of times, like, I want first dibs on everything.
Right.
Like, I want to be able, if he hears somebody say the N word or whatever, like, I want him to hear it first here. Any curse words, I want him to hear it here first. I want first dibs on how he interprets all information.
I think the biggest thing to know, I think that I'm learning as well, is that we don't get to decide what time they ask the question and how old they are when they ask it, right? So my 5-year-old, I just tell her all the time, I'm like, I promise you, I'm just not going to lie to you, right? So you can like it. You can maybe like, I not go into great detail, or I might just tell you literally, like, I can't tell you right now, right? But I will explain later. But for the most part, I'm like, I'm going to tell you the truth, right? Like, why is that lady smoking a cigarette? Or why is this happening? Or why is that happening? Or why does this person get treated that way, right? Or, and she'll have whys for, like, why is it, okay. And we're driving and I'm answering questions, because I'd rather you hear it from me because I'm gonna give you the principles I believe you need to be successful in life.
Yeah.
Right. And the perspective I think you need to have. Right. Because, you know, especially in my household. Right. First and foremost, you know, we believe in God and serving the Lord and being, you know, having that character when we're out here in society.
Yeah. How do you think I know I know you're kind of a ways away from it, but when they start to get into this dating realm, like what are your thoughts on that, like today as you are right now?
Me like, it's funny. Me and my daughter talk now.
At 5?
Right, because she'll be like, you know, she like 2 weeks ago, she's like, Daddy, like one day I'm gonna get married. I said, yeah, you are. One day you're gonna get married, girl. And she's like, but I'm gonna marry you. And I'm like, well, I'm already taken. Your mama got me. And she's like, no, but I'm gonna marry you too. I was like, nah, I can only do one. And she's like, all right, well, you know, then I'm gonna find somebody, but are you gonna help me? And I said, I'm gonna help you as much as you want me to, but just understand the only thing I ask is that you find you know, a special somebody, you bring them home, you know, you let daddy talk to him. Well, why you gotta talk to him? Because I want to make sure that, you know, he loves God. B, I want to make sure that he's gonna treat you nice. Right, he understands how special and beautiful you are. Lastly, I want to make sure he's a hard worker, right? And he's going to be the type of person, you know, that's going to take care of his family, you know. So I might have to, you know, wrestle him around a little bit, make sure he can handle himself, right? So she starts laughing like, really? Well, what if he can't? I don't know. We might have to kick him out.
That seems like a pretty, like, maybe I'm just not there yet, but that seems like a pretty mature conversation to have with a 5-year-old, right? I mean, is that how all 5-year-olds are? All 5-year-old girls? Remember, no sisters, bro.
No, 100%. I think I feel like you definitely, like, when you get to that level, you'll get it that, like, there's a lot of 5-year-olds, but there's only your 5-year-old, and I think that, like, you know, I believe my 5-year-old's pretty exceptional, right? And like I said, like, I'm not lying, so I'm just gonna. I've always like she's like when she came into like kindergarten, right? That like. We want to make sure they know a couple sight words, right? And she knew over 100, right? Like she's really good at reading, all that stuff. But I give a lot of that to the idea that I always spoke to her like a person. Like we talk. So like I said, a lot of times it's when we're driving. That's usually like our thing. So it's just we talk, and I talk to her, and and she asks questions and she hears things, and she just had this way of like introspective understanding things, and it's amazing. So it's just like, but we have similar personalities, so we clash sometimes, but she also gets that, like, she gets this understanding of, like, I'm her father, like, I love her, like, I want what's best for her, and she gets that. Yeah.
So I was talking to some of my friends that have girls as well, and they seem to not like it. They don't like the stigma of people calling their daughter, like, cute. Like saying, oh, your daughter's cute, or she's really cute, because they say that, you know, she's more than that. She's more than just being cute, and they feel like they're just objectifying them, like, soon as they meet the daughter. Do you have any thoughts on that? Do you care if somebody says, oh, your daughter's cute?
It's interesting. Like my wife might tell you a different answer, but for me, it's often like I said, when I'm driving with my daughter, she'll have a question like, well, why did this person call me this, or why did this happen? You know, or I'll ask a question like, you know, if someone said, you're cute, right? Like, how'd that make you feel? Or what do you think about that? Right? And we'll just talk. And then for me, really what it is that, once again, it's not what people call you that defines who you are, it's what you answer to. Right? So me and my daughter, we do positive affirmations in the morning. We talk about how beautiful, like, she is from the inside out, and all the special things that she has, and all the ways that, right, like her mother and father and God loves her for, you know, just like how, you know, how smart and witty and, you know, intelligent, and just, you know, having a knack for, you know, just fixing things and being curious, and right, like all these like attributes that she has. So like I give them no power.
Yeah, so you do, like, literally, like, in the mornings, you have them rehearse things, like, say the same things, like, over and over.
Yeah, 100%, because you see all these images, right? And I started seeing it at times. I think it was about when she was about 2.5, and she loves, like, Ariel from The Little Mermaid. Yeah. And then it was, like, all of a sudden, it was like, well, I wish I had long hair like her. I wish I had red hair like her. Or I wish I had, like, this blonde hair, right? And then, for me, those are the seeds of doubt, right? So then I just, like, remind her, like, that you can have, we can put your hair down, but guess what? Ariel can't have her hair stand up. right? Her hair can't defy gravity. Only your beautiful, strong hair can, right? Like, you are beautiful the way that you are, right? Like, and God made you perfect, you know, and with everything that you have. So you have to love that and understand that we can braid it, we can curl it, we can throw it, we can lay it down, we can do anything you want with it. But you're the one with the beautiful hair, right? So it's like understanding, like, naturally to understand, like, the love of her beauty.
Yeah. So the affirmations came out of like a conversation like that you kind of observed it and you wanted to like start instilling that in there. How did the affirmations just come up?
Yeah, because it was just more about, like, I can't talk about everybody else. I talk about myself. It's I listen, right? And that's important. Like, I listen to what she says, and she knows that, and I respond. And I respond like as if I'm listening. So when she says that, like, then like it gives me time to think. Sometimes it's not the same day. It's like later, but like I noodle on it, right? Like I mull it over, and I'm just like, okay, so how are we going to proactively, attack this? And it's not just me, right? I take a lot of, I get a lot of glory for it, but my wife as well. And I think the biggest thing was just, was understanding as a black man, I have certain privileges that I didn't know until I had black girls. And the standard of beauty was one of them, right? I've never felt like when I walked into a room that people questioned whether or not like I was handsome or good looking. Maybe it was a preference, right? But when you see the way in which images are portrayed or black women are portrayed and their natural beauty is seen as something that they need to assimilate into, like very Eurocentric society and do things to their hair and their body that God didn't make for it, right? Like those things are troublesome. So how do you get ahead of that? How are you proactive? And for me, it was just about, hey, let me tell you every day, like every morning, let me feed you, right? Like every morning, like let me feed you. And it's like, so we get up, get ready. And then it's just like, all right, before you go, you know what time it is, right? It's, I'm powerful.
Yeah. So
right. I'm beautiful. I love my skin. I love my hair, right? Like I'm limitless, right? I can do anything. Nothing's going to stop me, and we have certain principles, right? She knows, like she does something and she gives up and she gets frustrated, right? What's rule number 1, right? She knows it. I know, don't give up. Rule number 1. All right, let's get it, right? But it's just instilling in her, like she knows, right? Like we're the Champlains, but she knows she's a Champlain, right? She knows like it's special to be that, right? And if you're that, right, it comes with there's a lot of power, but comes with some, responsibility, right? You gotta handle your business, and she gets that. She gets that training,
Yeah, that's dope. I've actually never really thought about that. I've heard about that, and remember, I just got here to this whole parent game.
No, 100%.
So the affirmations are things that I've heard about, but I mean, this is the first conversation I think that I've had about it. Yeah. And just hearing this perspective is very interesting because you're very intense with it,
right?
Like you're intentional.
Yeah.
Like no, this is who you are, and hearing it on TV and social media stuff is different than hearing it like in person.
No, 100%.
The energy is even different.
Yeah.
Hearing you say it, like I feel it. Like I feel like I just did like a time warp and was in your living room when you were saying this stuff.
Yeah. Because
awesome.
There's right. They say 0 to 5, they're a sponge, mm-hmm. Right? So what are you feeding them? That's what the whole thing is like. My job is to fill the gaps. If not, the world will, right? And it's the fear, right? Like that's what drives me. Is the fear of how society views us, right? The fear of her not knowing who she is, right? Not knowing her history, and my job is to give her, right? Like it's to fill her up so much, to give her so much armor, because now that I'm sending her out there, right? Like she's in kindergarten, right? And I'm sending her out there, the world's going to start chipping away, right? But if you don't give her a foundation, if you don't give her something to anchor to, right, it's gonna break it down, and I can't let that happen because my mother didn't let it happen to me. Like when I was growing up, my mom was like, I named you Malik. Malik means king, right? Like she told me about, right, like black people weren't slaves, we were enslaved. There's a difference, right? Like my mother wore kente cloth, right? Like it's in 1985 in Brooklyn, New York, Afrocentric, like it was different. So when I moved to Connecticut and they tried to tell me what my history was, they couldn't. You can't. How can you tell me we started with slaves when I knew who the Mali were, right? the Cushites, and I knew that my middle name is Shabaka, and that, you know, and that comes from being a pharaoh back in the, you know, 800 AD. You know what I mean? Like, I know who I am. I know where I'm rooted at. So how can you push me or tell me something that I'm not to make me then become a statistic, right? So my job is to do the same with my daughter.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, man. That's I feel that energy. That's
Yeah.
dope. So what do you think about like so there's like a feminist movement that's kind of going on right now. Do you think that you're more of a feminist or more in support of it since you've had these kids?
So one of the other things that I do, right? Because like your boy, like I have a couple of jobs, but one of the other things that I do is that I also run domestic violence groups.
Okay.
Twice a week, and with doing that, we watched a movie recently with them called The Mask We Live In, and so with that, it was interesting because it talks about how, like, a lot of times we base masculinity off of our dislike for femininity, or the idea of or feminine characteristics that we have, and we suppress certain feelings and things like that. So I became more in touch with who I was as a man, I felt like, by having women, right? By having like little girls, and like being able to like have to understand that I can't give what I don't have. So I had to start searching and asking questions to men that I looked up to, and reading books, and understanding that like there's certain things I had to process, that I have to work through. And I felt like it definitely slowed me down. It softened my heart a little bit, you know, and it made me really process some of the problems I had with vulnerability, understanding like the difference between like intent and impact when I'm communicating, really understanding that like empathy goes a long way. I do, but like really validating someone's feelings, really like actually listening, and not to like, I think as men we want to listen to fix, and listening just to listen, you know. I think that like that changed just to like kind of just be there for somebody, you know. And I think that like I'm growing in that side of things, because I definitely was a little rougher beforehand. Did
you know that was going to happen, or was that like a surprise when your daughter reached like 3 years old or something?
Surprise, because, you know, 3, 4, 5, like they're like a ball of emotions, right? And you kind of just like don't understand. But if you only have these like little tools, you can't really understand, right? So asking my daughter like, hey, how was school today? She's gonna say it was good. It could have been the worst day ever. She's gonna say it was good. It's like the standard response. But then there was this book on it's called Emotion Coaching for Parents. That was really good, and it just talked about like talking with your kids and like different ways of like dealing with them and discipline and all that stuff. But one of them was telling me some different ways of like talking to them. So asking more of an open-ended question was important for me. Mm-hmm. So asking something a little bit more specific and measurable. So like so now I might be like, hey, who'd you have lunch with today? And they'd be like, oh, I had lunch with Sarah, and this happened, and she forgot her dessert, and I let her have some of mine. And so now the conversation starts. And then Deshaun was there, and then Sebi was there, and then now all of a sudden I know 3 or 4 of her friends. So now later on I can use some of this information to ask her questions when I'm struggling to get it out of her, right? Hey, what was the funniest thing that happened today? Tell me one thing that was like really funny today, right? And then it's like, oh, this person did it, and it's like really silly, but like it's really funny to her, right? And but like now she's talking like nobody's business, and that's the other thing with girls, right? Once you do get them talking, right, they're gonna talk. So you build up your endurance,
right?
You build up your endurance, but it's funny because you might be like, oh man, they talk, but you're upset when they don't, right? Like that's the part that you're like something's up. So then you trying to get them to talk.
Yeah. So were you more concerned with like equal rights or equal pay, like with women and that kind of stuff?
Right. So I definitely have a different ear to it. Right. I see more of the red flags and warning signs. Right. So looking at whether or not we have like a rape culture in America, looking at how important it is for us as men to see women as equal. And to treat them that way, and what does that look like, and how, right? How that's what we might be hopefully aspiring to, or what I would like, but also understanding the reality of the world that she lives in right now, you know, because when I see my little princess, I see her being whatever she wants to be, right? Like anything that she wants to be. And it's like, well, in one part, I'm going to let her know that she can do it all. She can do it all, have it all. She's going to have to work for it. But that nothing can stop her, and like her gender shouldn't be ever an issue. But in the other part, I'm going to prepare her though, right? To understand that, hey, this world's going to try to tell you what your role is, where you should be at, right? And with every breath you take, you're going to have to live in resistance to that, right? You're going to have to be resilient. You're going to have to persevere. And for women too, and especially for black women, it's a different beast. You know, there's a double standard there, right? But I can't protect her whole life. And like, I don't tell her that. Like, I can. My job is just try to prepare her the best I can for what's to come, right? And God willing, like, it's all, you know, sunshines and rainbows. But my job is really just to prepare her for the rainy days.
I had a conversation with a friend of mine, older friend of mine, and he has, I think, a 13-year-old daughter.
Right.
So I was asking him about, like, you know, does she do the sleepovers and stuff? And then he says, you know, I don't participate in, you know, their sleepovers because her girlfriends, like his daughter's girlfriends, come over. He said he doesn't want any misunderstandings, you know, him being like a big black man and having like the girls come over to the house and stay overnight. He says if they do something like that, he leaves the house like for the night and stays like at his mom's or something. Yeah. What do you think about that perspective? Does anything like that worry you with the kind of world that we're kind of in right now?
Right. I can see where he's coming from, right? I think my spin on it is just, I would rather them at my house than her at their house. So if there's anybody at risk, it's me, right? Versus her being at risk, you know, because then the other part goes to is that me preventing her from being at risk is important to me because of so part of my job is that I run halfway houses, right? I run there's 5 female halfway houses. I run 2 of them. You know, I have some male houses too, but I run 2 of them. And I go through a couple hundred women that I supervise throughout the year. And I can guarantee you 95% of them have been sexually abused, right? And that scares me, right? And I can't control every situation she's in. But things that are definitely like questionable, you try to lessen her exposure to. So if I'm going to bet on anything, I'm gonna bet that she and her friends will be safe at my house and versus being somewhere else. So
it wouldn't bother you that, you know, somebody could say, oh, he did something to me when they're at your house. Like you that doesn't concern you at all?
No, it's not. I guess for me, it's not about like, it's just levels, right? So when I weigh my options out and I go, do I send her somewhere and then just hope, right, that the man that I just met, right, that is her father or whoever they let sleep over there is a good dude, right? Or maybe he's wearing this mask or whatever it is, right, that she's going to be okay. Or do I potentially have like somebody lie about what I'm doing? Then if I'm weighing that, like, then I'll have somebody lie.
I think that's so awesome that a lot of us didn't grow up with our fathers, but we turned out to be like very decent fathers. Like, right, we're very, very motivated to be very good fathers. I don't know why that works out the way that it does. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I mean, I think for me it was more like if there was 10 doors, right, and let's see, 9 of them were bad, I know what doors not to go in.
Right.
Right. And like this last one is like, the problem is that I'm trying to crack the code. Right. And the only way I can do that is by being vulnerable enough to like humble myself and ask for some help. Right. To invest time into understanding that I don't know what I don't know. You know, and then and learning on the job. I know you know about that right now. Right. Learning on the job and taking it, you know, holding myself to a standard but being easy too. Right. And understanding that, like, you know, it's not easy and I'm making some mistakes. But the thing is that I'm a quick study. Right. Like, I'm a quick study, and man, so I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. I one more thing. I always thought that it was interesting that I would hear like guys say something like, "Oh, well, you know, I'm just a better father than my dad was, like to me."
Yeah.
And I never really know how to take that. And the only reason is because is like if I take my situation, like I don't think my dad put the bar very high. You know what I mean?
No, I'm with you.
So if the bar is not that high, my objective is not to be better than my dad. You know what I mean? Because that's just not on my radar anymore. I'm going to be the best person that I can be, but I'm not measuring and saying, "Oh, my dad didn't do this, so I'm going to do this." Like I literally don't think about anything that we did or didn't do. Like I'm just doing the same thing. I'm just doing what comes naturally, like to me. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like they say comparison is a thief of joy, but whose joy, right? If you keep comparing yourself to your father who really wasn't there, you still enjoy from your children, right? Because it's really like a race, right? And you're only trying to beat your own record, right? You're and with that, you're trying to be the best version of you that you can be for them, because you're trying to impart all that you have that's good in you into them. And if you're not elevating yourself to that level, then that's on you. You know, that you're sacrificing them and their future. They say like a godly man leaves an inheritance for his children's children, right? But like that inheritance is like, you know, your faith in God, right? But that inheritance is like, you know, that idea that like, if I don't have these tools to fill up your toolbox, right, you're going to go out there in the world and you're not going to be able to fix or handle the problems that you need to handle to, you know, to then give to the next generation that I need you to give to, right? It's more about legacy, and you got to see, so some people say it's chess, not checkers, right? I say more of it like it's Mancala, right? Because there's a black man's game. So, you know, you got to think ahead. You got to think 7-10 steps ahead and really like, hey, like I wasn't given some things, but at the same time, like I can live my life by default or by design. And if I'm trying to design how I'm going to, you know, situate this family, because the other part about it is that we're coming from broken families, or it's starting with us, right? So if it's starting with you, eventually, right, you're the boy who becomes the man, who becomes the father, who becomes the mentor, who then becomes the patriarch. If that's the goal, how do you then reverse engineer it, right? And then how do you build it so that the generations that follow you, right, refer to you and understand that like that's where it started with. That's how we got here. That's how we started, right, having economic empowerment. That's how we, you know, the men in our family started taking care of their business. That's how, that's how the things happen, you know, for us. And I think that like that's so important, because if you're just comparing, man, like the bar's definitely too low.
I told you guys, Malik is the OG. Just tons of gems, tons of information. It's just absorbing information. Malik is an awesome dude, man. Just awesome. I told you he's the OG. All right. You guys make sure you go follow Malik on his Instagram page, and don't forget to, follow me too, dad_vlog. Hope you guys have fun. See you next time.
So use a chip off the old block. Looking at you got me thinking about my old pops. How I'ma navigate and get you through the roadblocks. You went from diaper change, poo-poo to potty train. Whoa, come and talk to me, I got a lot of game. Whoa, smile like your mama, but we look the same. Whoa, and you can talk all week, but somehow dad sound like music